Man, it was tough. It was tough. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Just with the severity of the strain, it was a bad strain. I thought that I initially needed surgery, but yeah, it's football. Like, nobody cares. So I mean, it was tough rehabbing. Like, I had to teach myself how to walk, how to jog, sprint again, and then going back to playing football was a tough task. But there's no excuses. Like, when you're out there, you're out there. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back healthy and balling out and doing what I was doing before the injury.
Look, there's no setbacks with him. That's what I can tell you. He's doing a good job. He's putting in the work, but it's a little, until we really get closer, I hate to start throwing a timetable on him, but he's doing well.
All right, so Ryan Branch, DJ Reed. We're going to talk about the Lions secondary, and right now they're going into the 2026 season beat up already. We ain't got training camp yet, and we about 6 weeks from training camp. And we're not going to rush Ryan Branch. DJ Reed said he went to get stem cell for his hamstring. And I don't remember him having those issues in New York. Kirby Joseph, there's talks about people just alluding to he going to be retired. And the big thing about it, if he walk away from football, I never got into the article. I was reading the headline or a tweet that said that it doesn't impact the Lions in the way financially you think it does. So, it is what it is, right? So that means it ain't going to free up all this magical cap space you think it is. So that's what I took from. I didn't read it. But with him, it's always going to go right back to that talking point we was having in the middle of last season. So Brad pretty much knew his career was probably going to be done when he signed him to that deal. He knew it, just like he knew Enrique when he drafted him. Is why he dropped to the second round. Is when he drafted him that his back was potential career ending. It was potential career ending. Like, why do you continue to grab these guys and re-sign these guys or bring these guys in or bring them back and they had these career ending injuries? That's where the conversation gonna go. Like, he got a real problem and he had that article, I think it was the Free Press or Detroit News, talking about his car accident is why he sympathized with players with injuries. You got to let that go, bro. It's a business at the end of the day. It's not a sympathy. You can get these dudes a job, in the scouting department or in the coaching or whatever. That's fine. But you can't continue to take our resources, important resources, and, and that's been the number one reason why he ain't won a Super Bowl. And that's just the guy's honest truth. He just has an infatuation with injury-prone players. So you got Kirby Joseph, whose career might be over with. I really ain't stunting it. It ain't like it's, the quarterback or it's the defensive end. I'm saying you can get a safety. Safety, you can get a safety. It's not a big deal. Bro, Brian Branch, even last year was questions whether they're going to bring him back. He had a tough season. Even before the injury, he had a tough season. Good player. There was questions whether they're going to bring him back. So, they turn over their back end. So you can see, coming back from that Achilles injury, that's going to be tough. They said they're not going to rush him, as they shouldn't rush him back. But honestly, you're probably going to see that kid from the Bucs back there a lot. And whoever else they got, whether it's Roxanne, Avonte Maddox, they probably going to be your safety. So, it is what it is. So they'll be in the market for some safeties next year. I don't think it's a huge deal. If you can generate pressure up front, your linebackers get it together. Now your corners with DJ Reed, people are saying he sucked. DJ Reed don't suck. DJ Reed's a good corner. Now, is he Carlton Davis? No. He's a good corner. And last year, he was a good corner. It's just, like I said, the front end and the back end work together. He got injured. And really it's not even about him. Honestly, it's not even about him. It's really about Rackstraw, and it's really about Terrion Arnold. And Rackstraw is legitimately starting his rookie year. And what does he really have? That is the $1 million question. What does Rackstraw What does he really have? So that's the biggest question. What does he really have? What can he really do? Because honestly, they put him in the nickel. I think people forget this. They put him in the nickel and he struggled. And he ain't a nickel corner. He an outside man, the man cover corner. So the question, you probably gonna have McQuarrie being your nickel, which I think that's good. DJ Reed, really your one corner at this point. You was, ready for Terrion to take over that one spot. Who knows what's going on with his case? He fighting the case right now. I don't know what's going on. So you never know what's happening with him. And at this point, you was expecting him to be your number one corner, and it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened yet. So you're like, okay, Terrion is ready to step up and be the number one corner. Reed is going to fall to number two. And even if they brought Carlton Davis back, that was the expectation. They're ready for Terrion Arnold to be the number two guy. And then realistically, it hasn't happened. I mean, to be the guy. And this is why I told y'all, I'd rather have Quinyon Mitchell. People laugh when I said that. I'd rather have Quinyon Mitchell. He was by far the better prospect. I was mad when the Eagles took him. That's who they should have gotten now, but for the most part, Terrion Arnold now, you hear, and that's the bigger question. Because you can talk about, placing safeties. Safeties, you can find safeties anywhere. Damn near that. It's not a hard position to play. I think Branch is valuable because his ability to play man-to-man. That helps everybody out. And I think Kirby's valuable because his ability to be an enforcer and take the ball away. That's what you're going to miss. But, can't cry but spill milk. But the corner is an interesting thing. I think McQuarrie is solid at nickel. I think DJ Reed is solid at the number one spot. It's okay. But at this point, what you getting from Terrion and what you getting from Rackstraw? Is somebody going to step up and show number one potential corner? We're not looking for a number two guy. We're looking for the guy. And at this point, I mean, I honestly, I'd have been washing my hands in his Rackstraw. At the end of the day, I'd have been washing my hands. And I'm ready about washing my hands with Terrion Arnold. I'm about there. But can't be impatient. And, this year they start playing well. You just need, you would prefer both to play well. But if one start playing well, if one really start playing well, I think you good. But if you have injuries in the cornerback room and Reed going to get that hamstring looked at and all that type of stuff, and a lot of that comes from lack of hydration, lack of proper, usually lack of hydration. That's usually what it comes from. Lack of hydration, conditioning issues, stretching, really stretching, dynamic stretching that muscle out. But a lot of times, them soft tissue injuries is conditioning and lack of proper hydration. So he can go get stem cell and all that stuff, but that's usually where it boils down to. But it is what it is, man. Appreciate y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Am I worried? I don't really care. We'll see what happens. So too early to be worried, but if they get healthy as the season goes on, it's gonna be interesting. But check out the Trey Lines Talk playlist. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Peace.